Okay, so first of all, we are going to make a bubble chart. And in order to do this, we need to create some fake data. So we need to make some Y values. And these are going to start at 2 at the bottom and then go up by 1 each time until we reach the top. Then make sure that you have clicked somewhere outside of the data and then go to Insert and insert a blank bubble chart. Then right click and go to Select Data and add in a new series. I will call mine Bubble, and then the X values are going to be these values here. The Y values will be the values that we just made here, and the bubble size will be the study size here. And OK again. Then at the moment the bubbles are much too big, so double click on the bubbles to open up the formatting bar and scale the bubble size, and I'll change mine to 15%. And at the moment the first bubble here is at number 17 on the y-axis, and so that's the first study in the table. And then the second bubble here is at 16 on the y-axis, and that's the second study. And so they are all lined up on top of each other until you get to the last study here, which is at number 2 on the y-axis, so this bubble here. And I am ending at number 2 as I want a little gap at the bottom to put the diamond in later on. Now let's change the bubbles into squares. So in order to do that, we need to go to Insert and Illustrations and Shapes, and then select the oval shape. And hold down Shift and click and drag while drawing this in order to make a perfect circle. And then go to Insert Shapes and select the rectangle, and hold down Shift again in order to draw a square, and make the square fit inside of the circle. Then hold down Ctrl to select both of these and go to Align and Align Center and Align Middle. Then select the square and change the shape outline to no outline and the shape fill to black. Then select the circle and change the shape fill to no fill, and temporarily I will change the shape outline to purple so we can see how this is working. Then hold down Ctrl again to select the square, and this time group these shapes together to make this easier. Then while it is still selected, press Ctrl C to copy, then select the bubbles and Ctrl V to paste. And this changes the bubbles into squares. And we can still see the purple outline around the circle, but if we select the circle again and go to Shape Format and Shape Outline and No Outline, then we can copy this again and paste it into the bubbles, and this time there is no outline and we just see the squares. Then the next step is to add in the error bars. So select the bubbles and add in error bars. And we don't need any Y error bars, so delete those. And we need to create 2 new columns for the error bars. And we will have negative error bars and positive error bars. And the negative error bars are going to be the odds ratio minus the lower confidence limits. And then the positive error bars are going to be the positive confidence limits minus the odds ratios. And then we will double click to send these down. Now select the error bars again and change the error amount to a custom amount and specify value. And the positive values will be these ones here, and the negative error values will be these ones here, and OK. Then double click on the x-axis and change it to have a log scale. Then I'm going to change the maximum to 100 and change the vertical axis crosses to the axis value of 0.001 to put the y-axis on the left-hand side. And now we're going to add in the labels to show the names of all of the studies. And in order to do this, we need to create some fake x values this time. And as I want all of the labels to be lined up vertically, they all need to have the same x value. And I am going to make it 0.0011 so that they will all be lined up next to the y-axis, and double click to send that down. Then we also need to give the bubbles a size, but as I am going to be making the bubbles invisible, it doesn't really matter what the size is. Then select the chart and right click and select data, and then add in a new series. And the series name I will give it this time is labels. The x values will be these values here. The y values will be the y values that we used last time, so these values here. And then the bubble size will be this size here. And OK again. And now we end up with a bunch of small dots going down the side. We'll select these and then add in data labels. Then select the data labels and change them from showing the y value to showing value from cells, and then select the names of all of these studies here and OK. Then we'll change the label position to the left and then move the plot area in a bit so that there's space for the labels. We no longer need the numbers for the x-axis, so go to Labels and change the label position to None. Then select the orange dots here and change the fill of these bubbles to No Fill so that we can't see them. And now we have the first study here at the top, and then the data from that study is lined up with it, and that is the case for all of the other labels as well. Now I will do some quick formatting to this. And then the next step is to add in the diamond at the bottom. And in order to do this, we will create a bar chart. And the lower edge of the diamond will be the lower value here. Then the width of the diamond will be the upper value minus the lower value. And select these values here and go to Insert and then insert a stacked bar chart. Then go to Chart Design and switch row and column so they are actually stacked on top of each other. Then go to Insert and Illustrations, Shapes, and this time select the diamond. And hold down Shift while drawing this diamond. And remove the shape outline and change the shape fill to black. Then while this diamond is selected, press Ctrl+C to copy, then select the orange bar and press Ctrl+V to paste. And then we need to change some of the formatting on this. So we need to make the axes match the axes of the other chart. So change it to be a log scale with a minimum of 0.001 and a maximum of 100. And move the vertical axis so it crosses at 0.001. And then we'll change the font to Arial and we'll make it black, and we'll make this here bold, and then change the line here to no line, and then this line I'm going to temporarily change to purple to make it easier to see. And then for the whole of the chart we'll change the fill to no fill so we can see the other chart underneath it, and then we'll line these two charts up. And you can use the arrow keys on the keyboard to control the position more precisely. And that looks close enough for me. So I will now select the blue bar and change it to no fill, and select the axes here and change the line to no line, and then remove the labels. And then we also need to get rid of the border. Then I'll just use the arrow keys again to move this down slightly. And now we have a diamond representing the combined values. The next step is to add in vertical lines. So go to Insert and Illustrations and Shapes and select the line this time. Then hold down Shift to draw a straight line. Holding down Shift means that you can only move the line at 45-degree angles. And I will also temporarily add in a border here to make it easier to see how tall the line needs to be. Then we'll make the line black and make it slightly wider. Then select the line and hold down Ctrl and Shift in order to make a copy of this line and drag it to the side, and this time line it up with the diamond. And I'll use the arrow keys to line this up more precisely. And this line will be dashed, and I'll also make it slightly wider. And then we'll remove the border again. Then select both of the lines while holding down Ctrl and both of the charts as well, and go to Shape Format and then group them all together. And then we have one shape that we can move around. And then the final thing that I want to do is change this error bar here so that it ends with an arrow. So I'll make a new column called arrow, and then I will copy the formula for the negative error bars here. And the error bar that I want to change is in this row here, so we'll highlight it. And then I will delete the number from this column and it will disappear from the chart, and then delete all of the other values in this column. And now we're going to create a second copy of the data. So select the chart and right click and go to Select Data, and then add in a new series. And this one I will call Arrow. The X values will be these values here. The Y values will be these values here. And then the bubble size will be these values here. So it's the exact same as the first series. Now we can select this new series and add error bars to it. And we'll just ignore this warning message and then delete the Y error bars here. Then I'll double click on the chart to open up the formatting bar and use the drop down box to select the X error bars. And then now I only need the minus values here, and I'll change the end style to no cap and then change the error amount to a custom amount, and this time change just the negative values and select this column here. And make sure to select the empty cells above and below so that the error bar ends up in the right place, and OK. And now we have an error bar here. We can select this and change the line to be black, and then change the end arrow type to be an arrow, and also change the end arrow size to make it slightly smaller. And now we have an error bar with an arrow on the end. We also need to make sure that we hide the second copy of the data, so I'll select this and change the fill to no fill to remove those bubbles. Okay, so in this video I have shown you how to create a forest plot in Excel, and that is everything.